What's up, Build a Better Bat, folks? What's up, YouTube? What's up, Instagram? I'm DJP Costuming, aka Dan Petruccio, here with a video about something that's been a kind of a sensitive issue these past couple of days. I've seen posted around a couple of times, whether it be through people who lift, bodybuilding, or people who wear muscle suits. That's the problem. People bringing up the validity of muscle suits. So today I kind of wanted to talk about muscle suits or training. What's the purpose? Why do people wear muscle suits? Does it mean they don't train? Does it mean they're not fit? Does it take away merit from the costume, this, that, and the other thing? Anyway, diving into that. So muscle suits have been around since Planet of the Apes came out with Charlton Heston. People were wearing muscle suits on film. What are they for? What's the purpose now? Well, you know, I've been costuming Batman when I was 145 pounds soaking wet. I'm 6'1", so 145 pounds for me was skin and bones. I was cosplaying Batman and I just didn't have the oomph I needed. You know, the size, the bulk. So while I started working out, I decided it was going to be time to, shall we say, buy something that could instantly up my size. So I got a muscle suit. Now this was done by Flex Design Costumes. And it really felt great. I had it on and I felt like a sense of identity. I was like, this is great. If I could slowly build up anything like this over time, that's gonna be amazing. So I wore it and I felt great in it, but you know what? Maybe it was just a little too big in the legs. I sold it. Over time, as I started getting bigger, I bought one that was really special to me and still is. I wear it from time to time. I call it my push-up bra. Now what it is it's a light layer that accentuates my physique. Well, why would I need it accentuated? Let's get to that in a minute. I don't carry good weight all year round. I don't carry size that someone would say, oh, that guy's muscular, all year round. So, you know, sometimes, some months out of the year, I need a little something to push back. Push back meaning, this is a balloon. It's a very thick balloon. This is for like one of those balloons inside of like, you know, the Disney sphere balloons. So this is a thick, heavy duty balloon. So this is pretending it was the muscle. See, muscle is nice and soft when it's, you know, not being contracted. And then contracted, it gets harder. So we'll pretend that this balloon is a semi-soft, you know, regular old muscle. You know, when you put any pressure on it whatsoever, the muscle contracts. It comes in. Pretend my hands are spandex. Now the muscle looks smaller. Spandex, when you wear a spandex suit like the one behind me, it compresses the muscle down. It compresses it, and that's why some of it's called compression gear. Spanks to hold people in are made out of spandex. Why is that? Well, that's because they want to look smaller. Now, what do we use? What do the movies use? Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck. What do they use to push back against the spandex? They use a muscle suit. So then they appear as back in their normal size that they are when they train. You know, you're not who you are with your pump 24/7, even when you're someone who trains. So how do we get that size? How do we look like we have that pump all day? It's not by just sitting in conventions. Who's gonna, in a Batman costume, who's gonna do push-ups in their costume? Nobody. No one wants to do that. I mean, I've seen people do it and they're crazy. But more power to you, I can't. So they push back against it. They put a little bit of size back on the outside by just putting a thin muscle layer under it. Now let's say you're not one of those people. You don't work out. You know, I grappled with for a long time when the Dawn of Justice came out and these people started wearing muscle suits all the time. You know, as someone who didn't like wearing one, and I was a natural Batman, and I was like, I wanted to look more athletic, like Year One, or like the Neil Adams Batman. Now, I'm in a pale in comparison to these guys that look like they have these huge physiques. The public doesn't know. How do I compare? I struggled with that until I found my own unique take on it. You can't be dictated by what other people are doing. You can't just follow just to follow. You have to just do your own thing. And if that means my Batman or my Superman is different, Superman, I can't wear a muscle suit. So sometimes I have to stand next to a Dawn of Justice Batman. I'm like, I gotta hold my own, you know, and it's very hard to do. So I grappled with that. Now I still wear my soft, you know, my softer toned muscle layer that I call the push-up bra. It's it's thin, but it's big enough that it shows my size back up, like a la a Man of Steel Superman suit, because he did wear a muscle suit, folks. And so he still does, and so does Affleck, and hate to break it to you, so do most superheroes on film. And it's not because they don't have the size. It's because there's the compression. We gotta push back against it. They gotta look like these monolithic, mythical characters that aren't like you and I. So that's the point of the muscle suit. And if you don't work out, it doesn't have any less merit for someone that just doesn't work out. Why shouldn't someone be able to put on a suit and look like the hero that they dreamed of being when they were a kid? There's been so many arguments I've seen this week, like they haven't deserved it. Well, who's really to say? Didn't they work for that money? Didn't they work for that money to spend on it? Wasn't that a dream of theirs too, like it was yours? Why does your body have more merit than someone's money to go out and purchase one of these very expensive items? It doesn't. Because you don't have to feel bad about what other people are doing just because it was quicker than your thing. You should be training for another reason anyway. Shouldn't just be for costuming. And if it is, and you have that motivation to go in there 5-6 days a week and eat the diet year round, just because you want to step in spandex, and hey man, you have a better motivation and a better mindset than me. Because if I was just doing this for costuming purposes, training, I'd quit. I'd quit so fast. I wouldn't have the motivation. The muscle suit serves a place in this hobby because it gives people something they can't. There's unachievable physiques. Spandex compresses the body down aesthetically. An aesthetic 10 to 12 pounds when you put on spandex. So however I look right this moment, if I was to put on spandex right now, aesthetically, it slims you 10 to 12 pounds in muscle. For me to look like this and look like this in my spandex, I'd have to gain around 10 pounds right now, if I wanted it to be good weight, of muscle. How long would that take me? A year and a half? So you can't expect what's good for the goose to be good for the gander. You know, you gotta just give and take a little. So for me right now, I'm a front man of a band. I don't want to get much, you know, I don't need to be any bigger. So I'll wear a little thin layer, and I'm not ashamed of it. No one should be ashamed of what they're wearing. Do you, and wear what you want to wear. Muscle suits have a place in this hobby, and it is not to take away from the people that lift. That's more power to you. Great, you know, training, awesome, health, awesome, I'm all for it, I'm all about it. It's what I practice and preach. But at the end of the day, muscle suit gives people the unattainable physique like Affleck has in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and it gets people to feel like they're hero at the end of the day. So remember, we don't want this balloon, we want to push back against it. That's what these suits are for, that's what they're there on film for. It's just to push back against the spandex, to make it look natural, to make it look like they might look out of costume. You know, and I want to talk about proportion too. So let's look at this cowl behind me. It's got quite a thick neck on it. It's got quite a thick neck on it. Now, if I look like me right now, I'm in proportion. There's proportionality. I'm in proportion. Now let's say I put my neck out like this. None of this now is in proportion. If my neck is this thick, how can my bicep be this thick? So what do we have to do? I have to thicken up the proportions in other places. Because now that my head is a little bit thicker than my head, my neck is a little bit thicker than my neck, and my traps are bigger than my actual traps, you can't have this be huge, proportionally and aesthetically, and have this be smaller. How could my neck look so much bigger than my arms? It can't. You have to somehow push the boundary of what that look of those areas aesthetically, so that everything is in proportions from the neck to the boots. If you're going for a cohesive look, you're gonna have to. You know, otherwise get a cowl with a really tight neck. Then your neck will be in proportion, and hopefully your head will be in proportion to your neck, to your shoulders, to your legs. It all is about proportion. So if something's thrown out of proportion, so if you have these big MF gauntlets on, your Batman costume, that's awesome. I love big gauntlets. But like, see here, mine are very thin. Why? Because I want to push, accentuate the shoulders and chest. If these are smaller, those look bigger. There's proportions in the costume. So the tighter the gauntlet look, the tighter you keep, you know, your neckline, the smaller proportionality you keep to things, and the smaller, physicality the costume has, the costume itself, the bigger proportionality your body will have. But if your costume has bigger proportionality in its features, you're going to look tiny under it. So how do we not look tiny under it? Folks, the answer is a muscle top, muscle suit, thin layer, thick layer, big layer. push the proportions, get the proportions where you want them, because at the end of the day, even the Affleck suit is all about the proportions. Just look at those soccer ball shoulders. They were totally trying to accentuate the shoulders on that suit. So guys, that's my rant on muscle suits. Wear them, don't wear them, do whatever you want, but please enjoy yourself. Thanks for watching.